Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show right here on Main Street TV, where it is a, shall we say, brisk? It is a brisk Wednesday here in downtown Jackson, and but that's okay. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of guests here in the studio today, so we look forward to it. Dr. Ian Lewis, you are here, or Dylan, sorry. Dr. Dylan Lewis. I was just talking to an Ian on the phone right before I got in here, so I'm so sorry about that. Dr. Dylan Lewis, and you are here, and we are going to talk about some of the things that you do at Holzer. So welcome back. You've been here before.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Yeah, for sure. And so he was scheduled a while back, but you had a frog in your throat.
Yeah. I would have been whispering creepily in the microphone.
I mean, some people get paid a whole lot of money for that. It's
that's
like,
true.
really,
Yeah.
you know, like,
MSR.
Yeah, you could have charged for that on the phone or something.
I just didn't want to give people the wrong impression when they show up to clinic. It's not my voice.
No, I always thought that commercial that said, I have a porcupine in my throat. That was really cute. That's what it reminded me of when you were telling me about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, we let you off the hook, but you're back now.
I'm back. Yep.
Yes.
I'm ready now.
So Dr. Dylan, so tell us a little bit. You were here, I don't know how long ago it's been, but...
probably like September, something
like that. I was going to say probably 6 or 8 months ago. But we were talking about off the air pain management, and that's kind of your specialty, if you will. And you do a lot of stuff here in Jackson and help people out. And, you know, so many people, I guess, are have that problem.
Yeah,
pain
a lot of
sucks.
different. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and most of it's like we were talking about. You know, probably 90% of my patients are spine problems of some sort. You know, because that's sort of the first place the spine problems go is to me or to us. So,
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of patients out there that I think just aren't really aware of the services we offer.
Yeah,
Two,
for sure.
everyone, I think when they think of spine, a lot of times the first instinct is like I have to go see a surgeon when my back hurts, you know, or I have this pinched nerve or whatever. When in reality, we can keep, you know, 8 to 9 out of 10 patients away from a big back surgery with something less invasive.
Yes, I don't think that anybody goes to see the doctor with pain and just prays that they say, I'm going to cut your back open. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, but yeah, not very many. It's definitely
we don't want to do that. Yes. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up here.
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Oak Hill, so I'm local. Went to high school at Oak Hill. Went to my parents still live there. We actually live on the opposite end of Franklin Valley that I grew up on, so we're on the same road, but we're on the Jackson end now. So yeah, but I went to OU for undergrad, stayed there for medical school, did some rotations kind of back in this area during medical school, and then I spent a year at Riverside.
Okay.
In Columbus for my internship. And then we spent 4 years at University of Louisville. I did my residency, my fellowship there. So now we're back. We've been back since we moved here back in around June, and then been in practice since August. So
well, we're so happy to have you here. What is your official title, if you will?
So I'm an interventional pain specialist.
Okay.
So interventional just meaning I kind of split the gap between, just like an interventional cardiologist, right? They do like heart casts and stents and things like that are not big open chest surgeries, but we do like image guided procedures. That's kind of what I do. So I sort of split the difference between like traditional medicine and surgery, where you do like
You're a tweener.
We handle the medical side. We do less invasive procedures and some minimally invasive surgery, but I don't do like big open fusions or anything like that. So
okay. And what made you get into? Did you have like something happen within your life that made you want to do this or specialize in this?
Yeah, not really. I think most medical students coming in either want to be pediatricians or orthopedists because they've been a child with an illness. Or they've been an athlete and gotten hurt, right? That's like the classic story.
No, that makes total sense.
Unless they have some sort of family relationship with something else. So I like like many of my peers was interested in orthopedics, and then I sort of found this interventional pain space somewhere in medical school. And I sort of saw it as a way to still treat musculoskeletal problems.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like new, less invasive ways to treat some of these issues. So I still treat mostly spine and joint problems, but and I still get to do lots of procedures and different sort of new cutting edge things to help people, but it's not there's less downtime, less recovery, that kind of stuff afterwards. So
love that. I'm sure you don't have a patient that isn't happy to hear that.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So.
Other than you have to go back to work faster.
Yeah, that's true.
No, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So tell us a little bit about, we were talking off the air, and you're mostly in Jackson working?
Yeah, so my clinic's always in Jackson. I usually do procedures at the surgery center up on Pattinsville on the hill at the clinic, the surgery center in the back there. And then every now and then, some cases we'll do down in Galplis, the main hospital, but primarily offices in Jackson. So.
Okay, and do you see patients up at the clinic as well, or out at the hospital location?
At the hospital, yeah. So most of the physician specialists are at the hospital out there. So we're down in orthopedics now on the first floor down there. So.
Okay, and it's super duper easy to get to. It's kind of like if you pull up to Holzer, the hospital, it's more to the right hand side. Super easy to get in and out, like all flat.
The ER,
Very
park
easy.
right outside. It's really convenient for the patients. So.
And the great thing is everyone there is so nice. If you're lost, to just say, I don't know where I need to get to Dr. Dillon, and they'll say,
right, yeah.
Over there. All right, well, very cool. So, let's talk about, there's a lot of letters here on this paper. So it says number of days in the clinic and ASC. What does that mean?
So the ambulatory surgery center. So usually I'm in clinic either usually 4 days a week, sometimes 3.
Okay.
And then surgery center doing procedures, usually just on Mondays, but then there's some Fridays also. So 1 or 2 days a week. That, so.
And we were talking about some of the cutting edge procedures, and we'll get to those, but how, as a physician specializing in what you do you all keep up with all of this stuff? So, it's kind of wild.
Yeah,
to think
mostly
about.
through the
I assume you don't YouTube it, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. I usually make that joke, because
he's gonna kill me.
No, I'm relatively young, right? So I get. There's always patients every now and then, like once a month or so. Like, are you sure? Have you done this before?
Because you do look really.
And I always tell them, like,
really
I watched a YouTube video before this.
It's fine.
Yeah,
I watched it twice.
That's modern learning, though, honestly. So, but no, I mostly through the medical society. So every specialty has a couple of societies that basically will train you on new stuff and kind of keep you up to date. So that's primarily how it's done.
That is awesome, and I know that you do keep up with all the stuff. So there's some. There are some different things listed here. So what is the mild procedure? And I assume that mild stands for something.
Yeah, it's a very clever acronym. So it stands for, because they want, it stands for minimally invasive lumbar decompression. So they want basically, I think, patients to think of it as like a mild procedure.
For sure. That sounds a lot better than
like a big
lumbar
open, the other words. So so this is basically designed for patients that have lumbar spinal stenosis. So the classic symptoms of this are like the folks that have back pain, sometimes leg pain, but usually low back pain that gets progressively the worse the longer they stand and the further they walk. And then if they sit down, they usually get better, right? So those are it's a very easy to understand symptomatology from that standpoint. That it just back pain gets worse the longer they stand, further they walk, when they sit down, their symptoms seem to get better.
And what causes that? So
stenosis is basically just means narrowing of the spinal canal. So what happens over time is there's this sort of classic degenerative cascade where patients, their discs start to degenerate some, the discs bulge out, they get arthritis in the back part of the spine, which causes some bone spurs. There's a ligament in the back that tends to get thickened. All these things over time take a spinal canal where the nerve roots run through that was wide open, and then over the decades, it starts getting more and more narrow.
Okay.
So a lot of patients think of this, they just think they're aging, right? They say, well, I can't do what I used to. So the problem this causes is patients end up, they stop they quit going on vacation because they have to walk far, right? If they can only stand for 5 minutes and walk 100 yards before they have to sit down, they don't go to their grandkids' games anymore. It's a real quality of life killer.
Absolutely, and that's not okay.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of patients just don't even know they have an issue. They just think, well, I'm getting old and there's nothing I can do.
Okay.
So this basically is a procedure that was developed to. Not every patient with stenosis is a candidate. There's certain MRI criteria they have to meet to be a candidate, but basically it's designed to have. It only takes, the safety profile of it is the same as like an epidural steroid injection, which is a very commonly done thing. So it's a very safe procedure. It's an outpatient procedure, same day.
Okay.
Usually takes like 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how many levels we treat. There's up to 3 levels that can be treated at a time. Patients end up with like 2 to 4 little stab incisions that don't even require any stitches, just like a
That sounds
drop
good.
it to a skin glue, return to full activity within 24 hours. It is like a pain procedure of sorts, but that's more of a secondary outcome. The primary outcome measures we have are standing time and walking distance. So in the biggest study we have on it, basically the average standing time in patients went from 8 minutes before the procedure to 56 minutes afterwards. Average walking distance.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it's a big functional change, right? And then, so it's like an 8x or 7x in standing time, and it's a 16x in walking distance on average. So around 250 feet to just shy of 4,000 after is the average for patients. Success rate's about 85%. And then, again, the biggest study we have on the procedure, about 90% of the patients that did well initially were still doing well at 5 years out. So it's durable. It lasts long.
So you don't, and you're not having to go in and redo it.
Injections and stuff like that, yeah. So
that is life-changing.
It's a great option for like I said, it's not a cure-all for every patient, but for the right patient, it can dramatically change their quality of life. And
well, how do you know? I mean, as we're sitting here talking, you're saying, well, people just think they're getting older or whatever. How do you know, like, when to call it out and say, I think something's wrong with me?
Yeah, I mean, again, like these are the symptoms for this are for stenosis or the narrowing of the spinal canal and the low back is so classic that the patients. When I get the sense that this is the issue they're having, and I start asking if they have specific symptoms, they think I'm like a wizard.
You're a soothsayer.
Because what happens, right, is like when they sit down, the bones in the low back separate a little bit, and it decreases the pressure.
Okay.
So they without knowing it, are doing other things in their life to try to do that. So the one is, they used to walk upright, and they start hunching forward further and further because, again, when they lean forward, those bones in the low back are separating, and it takes some of the pressure off. The other classic thing is like the shopping cart sign, which basically means that when they walk in the store, they can't walk around anymore unless they're leaning over on the cart. Because again, that leaning forward, just like sitting down, opens up the space a little bit, takes the pressure off.
Okay.
And yeah, usually they're the patients that if they stand and or they keep walking, the pressure is building and the pain's getting worse and worse and worse. They know, like, they start looking for a chair to sit down in because that relieves their symptoms almost instantly. So
okay, and so that's a telltale sign to. And how does someone get to you? Do they need a referral from their?
That's the easiest way. Yeah.
Okay.
If they have primary care, just put a referral in. We'll evaluate you, see if you're a candidate. I mean, there's other things we can do too, but this is a good, like, durable option for patients that doesn't require. The other thing I was going to mention earlier is the anesthesia required for the procedure is similar to like a colonoscopy. They give you some sedating medicine through your IV, but it doesn't require like a breathing
Best
tube.
nap you've ever had.
Yeah, right.
That's what they said when I went, and I was like, you were so right about that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like, you don't need a breathing tube and all that kind of stuff for anesthesia. I always have this thought, like the days we do a lot of these procedures, that I'm like, they're probably going to be pretty sore afterwards, I'm kind of waiting for the calls the next day. But the patients never, the post-operative pain is minimal. And I always ask them when they come back, I'm like, how was your pain after? They're like, I could tell you did something, but they're like, it really was nothing. Like, I didn't really have much pain after. So I'm always surprised at how well people do, but it's tolerated very well.
That is great. That has to make you like just burst with
it's a great
excitement.
Yeah, the patients usually come in with they tell me a list of names before they leave the clinic on their follow-up of like, these are all my friends that have seen the change, right? And like they're all going to be coming to you because they all. So you get patients that are not candidates that come in, but it's definitely a great like word of mouth referral because the quality of life shift is dramatic in the right patient. So
about how many people? I mean, is this a common thing to have happen?
Yeah, it's very common because again, that degenerative cascades happens to everybody. The disc breaking down, the arthritis, and that kind of stuff. It's just a matter of when,
Okay.
And some people it never, they have other medical issues before they develop this, but it's a very common thing that. I think people that listen to the symptoms are like, oh, yeah, I know X, Y, and Z, or that's me, right?
Yeah, that makes
total sense. So it's a very
easy
symptom sort of cluster to understand it's a very common issue.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So don't feel like you're all alone out there because he sees it all the time.
Right, and I don't want to make it seem like we can cure everybody with this, right?
Yeah,
but for the right patient that has
great.
these symptoms and their MRI meets criteria, and especially the ones that have failed injections, that's another thing that the company who makes this tend to market is that if you have those symptoms and you meet MRI criteria and injections or spine injections have stopped working, this is the time to go to that. So,
okay, are there things out there that say God, I hate to say this, almost 50-year-old Jen can do to keep this from happening? Strengthening exercises?
Yeah, core stability and weight management are really the two.
Okay.
Now, I mean, the other thing that always comes into this is not getting injured. So if you have a major injury and you blow out a disc and it's, like that kind of stuff is hard to, it's never as good as it was, right?
Sure.
It's like avoiding injury is a big thing, but yeah, the other is just the core stability stuff and weight management. Because I still have patients that come in, they're like, I don't really want to do anything yet. Like, let me see if I want to, drop some weight and see how that happens, see how that helps. And I just had a gentleman in last week in his 60s, was having pretty bad back pain. I saw him 3 months ago, and then he came back, and he's like, yeah, I lost 30 pounds. My back doesn't hurt anymore,
Sure.
So that definitely does make a difference in a lot of patients.
Yes.
But,
Okay. So that's just a little tip for you. Yeah, for sure.
prevention's always the best.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah.
Definitely. So what is kyphoplasty? Did I say that right?
Yeah. So kyphoplasty is it's not a new procedure. There's been versions of this. It all kind of falls in this like vertebral augmentation.
Okay, so back up. What?
Which basically means, so I'll get there. So the patients that have vertebral compression fractures. So in the mid and low back, these are all usually low energy fractures that basically the bones collapse a little bit. And usually it's in patients that have brittle bones or like osteoporosis.
Okay.
Right. So if their bones are soft, these are things, I've had patients do anything from sit down in a chair too fast, or I had a lady that she's in her 80s, but she still hunts. She picked up a rifle in the winter, and just that weight, she felt it, go down or reach up overhead in a cabinet, and something like that happens. These can be very like low energy, even spontaneous.
Just the silliest thing that happens.
Yeah, because their bones are soft, and you load them and they collapse. So some patients don't need anything done. You just, they can take some medicine for a few weeks, kind of modify their activity, maybe put them in a brace. They don't need anything.
Sure.
For the ones that don't respond early, this is a great treatment option because basically what we know is that if someone has debilitating pain from this and it decreases their activity significantly, well, they're already frail to begin with because their bones are soft.
Right.
So this is not like your, strong, beefy, 70-year-old that's lifting weights. This is like someone that's, classically it's your smaller patients that are a little bit undernourished and their bones are thin and that kind of thing.
And are women more susceptible
Yes.
to this because we have
Absolutely.
less,
because
I feel like bone density?
Yeah, because of the hormonal changes. Yeah, so women are definitely higher risk. So the thing is like if someone can't move, right, they have this, they can't get out of bed because their pain's too severe, or they are now in a wheelchair for a while, as their frailty can get much worse, right? Because they lose their mobility, they lose strength in their glutes and their legs.
Absolutely.
And so to try to prevent that, we basically, because if you look at the studies on this, if you fast forward out like a year or two, you can't really tell which patients had the procedure and which ones didn't for the most part. But for all that time in the middle, if you treat them, with the procedure, then basically they can get back on their feet right away and not lose their mobility. So basically what the procedure looks like, again, if it's just one level, these are 20, 30-minute procedures, same kind of sedation as we mentioned for the other, for the mild procedure, colonoscopy type sedation. And basically what we do is go into the bone that's collapsed through two little stab incisions, access the bone, blow up two little balloons to kind of take the pieces of bone that are fractured and sort of compact them out and create a cavity. It also restores a little bit of the height of the bone that's collapsed.
Okay.
Take the balloons out, fill them with bone cement, and then usually, again, this is a very satisfying.
So cool.
Yeah. So usually these patients wake up in recovery, and they're just like,
I feel
pain's
better.
Gone. Yeah, and they're miserable before. So this is another great option. This is like the closest thing of all the stuff that I do that I have to like an immediate fix. They wake up and their pain's gone.
That is amazing.
The other piece of this is like aggressively getting them into endocrinology to manage their osteoporosis to prevent further fractures, because
for sure
that's a huge issue.
Yeah, I mean we women, just as we age also, tend to lose that bone density.
Well, this is your classic like little old lady procedure.
Sure.
It's like you get a lot of 70, 80-year-old females that are small and frail, and their bones are soft. And
yep. And a lot of it, a lot of that's genetics. You just can't sometimes do much about it.
Yeah. Calcium, vitamin D.
Yep.
Lift heavy things for as long as you can tolerate.
Properly.
All that's properly. All that's
Please
don't
properly.
get injured. All that's good for bone density though. But yeah, this is an issue that affects a lot of folks. And a lot of these are underdiagnosed. They go in with back pain, right? And they're like, oh, they just strained a muscle, and they But the biggest thing I would say is if they x-ray them and you find it, then get them in quickly, because what can happen is that they can continue to worsen and collapse more, and then it makes the procedure much more difficult or risky sometimes. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you can nip it in the bud right away, it seems like it would be better than letting it go on.
Because what you don't want, sometimes we have to wait for insurance and jump through all these hoops, right? So the images you have preoperatively, and then you go through all those things, and it takes a few weeks. Well, by the time you get to the OR, you take an x-ray, it's like, well, now it's completely collapsed. And
way
it's
worse.
Way harder to fix.
Okay.
And sometimes these are also like metastatic lesions. So people that have cancer that commonly metastasize or spread to bone, that can also cause these. So we can basically do a modified version of this procedure where we can do like an ablation to basically destroy the tumor tissue that's in there.
Okay.
And then basically do the same procedure otherwise to stabilize the spine. So
it's like a miracle.
It's a good option.
Yeah, for sure.
Patient, so.
Okay, so, and then off the air also, we were talking about, those are kind of some really neat procedures that you can do that none of us would know about. But then there's also the person that has had, and I didn't realize this was a thing. You said a lot of times people have a knee replacement or some type of joint replacement and they still have some pain.
Yeah, and I don't want to have all the orthopedists coming after me.
No.
but no, that's a common...
But it is a thing.
Yeah, and depending on which paper you read, it's like 10 to maybe 15, 20% of patients. The other common scenario is I get folks that say they don't want to have a knee replacement yet, or they can't because they're too medically sick to undergo anesthesia. So those are the three common ones that, there's other options for knee pain, say for shoulders, sometimes hips too, or one option is we can basically get the nerves that innervate the joint and basically do a nerve block. If it takes away their pain even temporarily, then we can come back and do an ablation where we basically burn or cauterize or destroy those nerves, and they don't feel the pain from the joint as much anymore.
Okay.
So that's one option. The other is we have another minimally invasive procedure where we basically can do it's called a peripheral nerve stimulator. It's like doing an injection, but instead of putting medicine in, you basically leave a little wire behind. It's connected to an external battery pack. They wear it for 2 months.
Oh.
And basically what it does is it sort of modulate, because the idea is you get these like sensitization where you've had this chronic pain, right? So your spinal cord and brain is getting this constant pain signal from one area. We're basically like hitting the reset button or modulating or intercepting that pain signal for 2 months. Even after 60 days, when we pull the lead out, typically patients will have sustained relief for at least a year afterwards.
That is cool.
So we can do it for knees, shoulders, hips. There's some insurance stuff. It's mostly Medicare, but again, these are usually older patients that are Medicare age anyway, so it's usually not an issue. But.
I was just sitting here thinking about your spine, and it's wild.
Mm-hmm. It's a very complex structure. So
there's a whole lot going on there.
There's a lot of spine practice. There's chiropractors and physical therapists, and there's all kinds of folks that sort of deal with these patients, and everyone has their role, and
Yeah, it takes a village, doesn't it? So what would you say, I think you kind of answered the question before, but, to prevent things from happening, what would be some suggestions that you would have? Not that you don't want to see patients, but it would be great if there, no offense, wasn't a need for you.
Correct, yeah.
So what would be your
in general, spine
suggestions?
health, right? Again, like what tends to happen with people who hurt their back or they have these wear and tear issues is they basically, the soft tissues that are static, which means like your bones, your ligament, the stuff that doesn't move, right? The muscles move, but like the other things are built to be stand still. They're sort of static stabilizers, which means they are just meant to stabilize things or, handle load but not move. What happens is if your weight's not under control, or if you move in a way that's not properly braced, if your core is weak or you have a fall or something or a car accident.
Sure.
What happens is the soft tissues that are not meant to take on all that force end up absorbing all of the impact. So that's what happens when the disc, someone herniates a disc or fractures their spine or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, it's the same general recommendations, right? Keep your core strong. Don't have a big injury. I think everyone should lift weights, in my opinion, or like do some kind of resistance training, and then weight management's the other one. Because every like 10 pounds of weight around your midsection is about 45 pounds of stress on your spine. So
Whoa.
it's a huge, even if you can lose 20, 30 pounds, that's a huge load off your spine that can preserve years or decades of spine health.
And it is amazing if you actually go down the path of trying to lose weight and talking, I mean, myself and talking with other people, I mean, even a 5 or a 10 pound difference is like life changing.
Yeah. Well, you don't look at the studies on mortality, like the mortality reduction, which is basically death over time. For patients to even lose like 10% of their weight is huge, you know?
Sure.
So the biggest like for weight management is if you can move out of like the bottom quartile or so in terms of being overweight or have an unhealthy weight into the next one up, then your risk of all the chronic issues goes way, way down, you know?
It's wild though, because it's a catch-22, because a lot of times the things that we're talking about would prevent somebody from maybe working out or doing,
Right.
but it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
is it the chicken or the egg?
Exactly, yeah.
So, but the thing is, do as little as you can, I guess, but I mean, do something.
Yeah, yeah.
Something.
And there's so many, and that's a whole other thing we could talk about for hours, but like the losing weight and diet and exercise, there's so much almost tribalism and like, you know, intermittent fasting or paleo or all these things people are
Oh
like,
my gosh.
if you found what works for you, then you think that's like the only thing that works, you know? But in reality, like it just depends on what works for you. So I have some general guidelines I talk about with patients, but you know, it's a very simple thing, but it's not an easy thing, especially in a world where we're surrounded by things that are highly palatable and not satiating, you know?
Yeah.
Everything you get that's packaged is like meant to be very stimulating and enjoyable. There's very little nutrition and it doesn't fill you up, right?
You mean
So
like
it's
mac and cheese?
yeah, anything like that. It's like you can eat
All of
a
these
box and like be hungry an hour later. It's like,
Yeah.
well, you know, our ancestors did not have that problem.
No, they
were
didn't. They-
roaming for hours and hours to find a few berries or like
Sure.
chasing down an animal to try to get an ounce of food, you know, so.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right on that, and we have it a little too easy, and that's probably going to be our downfall.
Yeah, and the problem is
some of that.
abundance now almost for most folks.
Yeah,
So
it is. It is. Okay, so let's talk for a minute again. I know you already answered this, but how does somebody get, you know, they're sitting there today going, yes, that's exactly what is wrong with me. I didn't know that there was someone here locally that could help me. How do they get to you?
So was that what's the number, Karen? 1-855-4 Holzer. Yeah, so that's so they call that the easiest way to get in is basically by referral. So they're a primary care physician or nurse practitioner or physician assistant that can send a referral. They can fax it to us.
Okay.
If they're outside a Holzer system, that's the easiest way to get in. If not, they can call and you know get routed through the phone tree, and we can. Usually, the referral is the easiest way because then we can sort of look through their chart and see what's going on and make sure
Right.
that we think we can actually help them. So we make good use of the patient's time and money. So.
Okay, that sounds great. So is there anything else that you would like to tell our viewers while you're here or discuss?
I don't think so. I think just the take-home message is we can offer a lot of things that I think there's basically nothing we don't offer here that you would have to, as far as what I do, that you'd have to go to Columbus or Huntington or wherever you're closest to for.
Sure. Why travel if you don't have to?
Yeah, we can.
And you have Dr. Dillon right here.
Yeah. So we can safely, effectively, you know, do basically the same stuff here. That you would get at another academic center, right? Because that's where all of us. You know, I'm recently out of training, so like we just came from big academic centers, you know. So basically
Sure.
taking all of that and onboarding it here. And a lot of the things we are talking about were already offered, but these things are kind of newer, so we wanted to highlight those. But yeah, I would say if you're,
It's
you know,
exciting.
if you have pain, especially if it's a localized part of your body that's bothering you, and you didn't think there was an option, then it can't hurt to do a consultation and see if there's something we can do to help you. So.
And that's the thing. Just ask. Mm-hmm. What are you out?
Yeah. You're not obligated to have any kind of procedure or anything done just by getting an evaluation, see if there's something we can do for you.
For sure. And you should not live in pain. Like, that's not normal.
Right. Yeah, not debilitating pain.
No.
Right.
Like, you should
A little
be
bit
able
of
to
pain,
walk.
stuff hurts here and there. That's life.
I mean, we all get the basic
Yeah.
aches and pains,
Yeah.
but something that's keeping you from, like you said, quality of life.
Or severely limiting your function. Those are the things that's like we got to try to do something to
That's right.
tune you up. So.
But you're not alone because
right.
Holzer's here for you.
Yeah. And we see patients that are like, oh, I thought there was the only one with this problem. I'm like, no, I've seen five of you today. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
right,
this is a
right.
very common thing for me, right? Because I see all these patients, but
Yeah. So, and you're happy to see them and
Yeah.
help them.
it's my job. So.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Well, very good. Well, thank you so much for coming in. We're glad you're feeling better.
Yeah. I'm sure everyone who listens or watches this is also happy because that would have been a struggle to get through. So. Yeah.
He was just a little hoarse. We could make a dad joke about that, but we won't.
They already told one on the radio this morning, so.
Yeah. They used I know 2 jokes in my life, and they used one of them today. It was the, if April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring? Do you girls know?
No, sorry.
No.
Have you heard if April showers bring May flowers? Have you heard that? So if April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring?
Is it April flower?
It's pilgrims. Right?
Pilgrims.
Yeah. The Mayflower.
You know, the pilgrims came over on the Mayflower, get it?
Yeah, my son, my son rides, he's in kindergarten, he rides the bus in the mornings, and there's someone on there that has like they have like a dad joke card of the day.
Oh, no.
So he has a joke every day when he comes home, and they're always like this kind of thing, so yeah, it's pretty funny.
My only other joke, I got to ask you. So I'll just do this one for you. What did the skeleton say when he walked into the bar? Can I have a beer and a mop?
There's, I've heard better, but it works.
Do you guys get it?
Yes.
Okay. Because some people are like, I don't get it. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You got it. You're a doctor. You get it.
Yeah. I can appreciate it.
I can only remember 2 jokes. That's all this little brain I have is. So, all right. Well, we'll let you get out of here.
Yeah,
You have patients
I do.
to see.
Soon, yeah.
Yes, and we have 4-H royalty here, so we're excited about that. So, all right. Well, Adrian says we have some messages, and then we will switch out and let Dr. Lewis get back to taking care of his patients and be back with our fair royalty in just a moment.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
TheTelegramNews.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Benton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, TheTelegramNews.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
TheTelegramNews.com.
Subscribe today at TheTelegramNews.com.
Check it out.
Saturday, August 16th is Southern Rock Woodstock in the Gallipolis Fairgrounds. This event will feature 3 decades of original artists and legends, such as Leonard Skinner, 38 Special, and Molly Hatchet. In light of this event, Total Media will be giving away 4 VIP tickets. For a chance to win these exclusive passes, comment your favorite Southern Rock song, and our staff will vote on which one is the best. Good luck, and may the best man rock out.
All right, and we are back with our friends. Show them, Natalie. So I got to give you credit. You so sweetly wore your 4-H green dress today.
Yes.
And now she is a pile of bricks.
Okay.
I
told
her it was a fashion statement.
No,
I think it's very cool. I mean, you can go back to school and say, I am a pile of bricks.
I'm just bricks. Like, if you don't see it, you don't see it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, other people saw it today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We blind?
Absolutely. So funny. So, girls, you are this year's, well, I guess last year. I don't know. Are you last year's, this year's? What do you say?
Last year's.
Last year's.
2024.
Okay. So, Fair Royalty, Jackson County Fair Royalty. So, I guess everybody introduce yourselves, please.
I'm Natalie Allison. I'm the Jackson County Fair Queen.
I'm Jasmine, and I'm the first attendant.
I'm Haley, and I'm the second attendant.
Very good. And you girls have had quite a year, I'm sure, traveling around and doing all the fun stuff. And you are here today to kind of promote the pageant, right?
Yes.
Coming up. So let's talk about that.
Okay, so first of all, Our applications are due tomorrow at the extension office by 4:30, or if you can email it to Angie Eisnagel. So for our Little Misses and Little Misters, it is open to the public. It's not just kids in 4-H and FFA, but for our bigger girls, it's for people who are already enrolled in 4-H this year and FFA and Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts.
Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts too?
Oh, no, that would be for the little ones. My bad.
Okay.
Because there ain't no boys up here.
Well,
we would love
it is 2025, so you just never know.
We would love to have a king, and hopefully one day soon we will have a king. I think we deserve one.
I think that would be cool.
Because we have the most fun with our little mister.
Yes.
So having a king, too, would be great.
I'll bet those little misters get so doted on.
Oh, yes.
He's a lot of fun.
Not many people have, like, boys in their court, so when they see them, they're like, oh, my God.
Oh, you're so cute. Look at you with your little ball cap on. Oh, my gosh, that's so fun. Well, we'll get back to pageant in a minute, but I want to hear about all of the fun stuff that you all have done this year so far. Let's talk about that. Okay. All the places you've gone. And
the favorite place I've been is the Circleville Pumpkin Show. I liked that one a lot.
Why?
Because everything there is pumpkin flavored.
I know. Like, who doesn't love pumpkin?
Pumpkin coffee, pumpkin roll, pumpkin nachos.
Wait,
pumpkin nachos.
Stop.
They were not good, but they were still pumpkin.
Wait, what is on a pumpkin nacho?
Maddie got them, actually. They were really bad. The meat was like... It was just... There was, like, actual, like, pumpkin in it. It was really bad. It's really bad.
So was it like beef nachos with pumpkin on it? It wasn't just pumpkin on nachos.
No,
chips.
It was pumpkin flavored beef.
Oh, you lost me at the beef part. I thought it was like nacho chips with some pumpkin.
The pumpkin
something
coffee
on it.
Was good though, so
pumpkin coffee
can't
sounds
hate
good.
Too much.
Yeah. All right. And did you have fun? I know they have a lot of parades and things at the pumpkin show. Did you have a good time there?
It was really cold.
It was really cold and very long, but it was fun.
But it was a fun parade.
Yeah, I like that parade.
Good deal. So Natalie, what was your favorite festival?
Can I pick ours?
Yeah.
I like ours because we get to spend that whole week together, and that's when that's when everybody starts to kind of pop out of their shell towards the end of the week, and that's when you get to know them. So that's the beginning of all the great stuff that we get to go into. So I'm going to choose our fair. And because our fair is really fun.
It is. You're exactly right about that. Yeah. Very good.
I was going to say the same thing, but not just only because we get to spend time with each other, but you get to see all the different projects that the kids have been working on, like hard work.
Yeah.
And that's what I like, is that it's not just about the rides and the food, it's about us kids getting to show you what it's like.
You know, I think that's so neat. The fairs are two separate things. You know, you have the 4-H and the FFA, you have the junior fair part, and then you have the carnival part.
Yeah.
So, which makes them so neat. Yeah. And then somehow they intertwine.
Yeah.
But, so what are some of the projects that you all did at the fair or are going to do?
I'm taking market rabbits.
I'm taking market and carcass hogs.
And I took my last year of rabbits last year.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
So you're old.
I'm old. Yeah, I'm an oldie.
Kidding. And by old, that's like 18.
Yeah. Oh, I'm almost 20, but it's still young.
It is.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Yeah. My body don't feel young, but it's okay.
Well, very good. And let's see, didn't you win like something last year? Reserve champion or something?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, okay. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes, it does.
Very good, very good. No, that's so exciting. And so explain a little bit about the carcass show. That's something new that has been added to 4-H or to the fair. I think they started with steers maybe, and then they've added hogs.
They added hogs, and I believe this year they added goats, was it?
Yes.
I think so, yeah. They added goats this year. So I took hogs last year, and there is a show a little bit before the fair for our carcass hogs. There you'll get put into your places. I think it's like top 10. Go to Circle M to get...
unalived.
You know, yeah. And then we hang them, and then they will grade you based on just how your meat looks and all that.
So I'm curious. This is interesting because you're having a judge look at your hog from the outside.
Yes. And then they look at it from the inside.
And they're judging it. And then they get unalived, and that's what we say here.
Yeah.
And then they're hanging, and then they get judged again. So are the judges that look at them from the outside, are they spot on to the inside? Or because, I mean, I think from the outside you kind of know, I mean, you know what you're looking for, but it doesn't necessarily mean.
So there's different judges. So you'll get different grades based on your show and then your carcass. But your carcass can look very different depending on what you're doing to it. So if you were to like hit your pig too hard with a whip, it might leave a bruising inside the meat. So when they look at it, they're looking for a lot of different things, not just like how your meat looks. They're going to look at maybe if you hit them too hard and bruise the meat, because then that meat is not usable. You can't have
Oh.
it. Yeah.
Okay. And that's a big fat no-no then.
Yeah, but you would have to hit them like pretty hard to do that.
Okay.
So, you wouldn't?
Don't beat your pig.
Don't beat your pig.
Yes.
They will know.
They will know. You will get told on as they're hanging. No, I was, that fascinates me that, so how do you all deal with the emotional part of unaliving your animal?
Just the circle of life.
Yeah.
My mom has to like put me in the camper because it's bad. Like, who wants to hurt a bunny?
I know,
Like,
I know.
It's hard.
It is sad.
I think as you move on in 4-H,
Yeah.
you're more like ready for it. But it's still so sad.
It really sucks as a little kid, though.
Yes, when you're a little kid, it's worse.
Well, and here's the thing, you know, even bunnies aren't as long a project as like a hog or a steer or whatever, where you're, you know, with them for months and months and months. But it doesn't matter. You still are caring for that. They're dependent on you, and it would be kind of like hard to let them go.
Yeah, because you're with them like every day.
Yeah.
And then they're just not there.
Okay. Yeah, I figured that would be rough.
Yep.
But this is why you're royalty, because you all do a really good job, and it is the circle of life, and you know it's something that you're learning. It's just a life lesson that you're learning that will, you know, it's improving you.
Yes.
Unfortunately. But yeah. So, all right. Well, let's talk about the pageant. Who can sign up? Who exactly all the details, and then what do they have to do for the pageant?
Okay, so first off, the application. There's a few categories, like what do you do outside of 4-H? What do you do inside of 4-H? There's also an essay at the end, like why do you want to be queen? What do you think a queen is? And the application would have to be turned in tomorrow to the extension office by 4:30, no later. And so for our older queens, which is basically 3rd and 4th grade up, you have to be enrolled in 4-H now because the deadline already happened.
Yes.
Or you have to be an FFA member or a Girl Scout member to try out for the bigger ones.
Okay.
But the little ones, you don't have to be in 4-H.
Okay.
You don't have to be in any of that. It's just public, you know, doesn't matter.
And that's kindergarten through 2nd grade, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and then you have different tiers of royalty, right? So can you
Yes.
break that down a little bit for me?
So our first one after littles, so we have a little Mr. and a little Mrs. And then we have a 3rd and 4th grade attendant, 5th and 6th, 7th and 8th, 9th and 10th, and then the queen and her attendants. So the queen, the first attendant, and the second attendant.
Okay.
9 places.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and all of those applications need to be in by tomorrow?
Yes.
At 4:30.
Yes, at 4:30.
Now, where do you get the application?
Online.
Where?
The Jackson Extension page.
Okay.
There's
edu, osu.jackson.edu, yeah. Okay, just Google it.
Yeah, you can look it up pretty
Or
quick.
go see Maddie and Josh out at the extension office.
Yeah.
And
I also
they'll
have a
help
phone
you
number
out.
that they can call too if they need help, if they can't
Let's
find
do
it.
that.
Okay, so the phone number is 740-286-5044.
Okay, very good.
And they will help you get to the application or anything you need.
Yeah. Or if you just
Awesome.
need help figuring out what
Yeah.
this means.
Sure. Okay, because we want you all to have proper applications, correct?
Yes.
So, have you had fun this year?
A lot of fun.
Yes.
The most fun.
I had a lot of fun.
Very good. And so, what would you say to girls that are on the fence, like teetering out there right now? Like, I don't know, might be hard, or it might be too time consuming, or I'm scared to stand up in front of people. What would you say?
Well, I'm a very busy person, and I know I've always like made time for it. So I mean, if it's something like you really want to do, and it's something that interests you, like you'll make time for it.
Yeah.
I think if you're scared, you definitely shouldn't be, because even if you don't walk out with a crown, at the end of the day, you would get to know some great people.
Yeah.
It does
Love
not
that.
matter. And you can, even if you tried out before and you lost, just come back and try again, because you never know what could happen, and you might meet more people. That's worth it.
I encourage anyone to do it because from someone that's been in it for a while, you get to meet a lot of new people, and the people are amazing. Like other queens themselves are amazing. They will do anything for you. Don't be scared, because once you get out there, it's a whole different show.
Yes.
It's very non-stressful, and there's people up there on that stage that will help you.
Yes.
Absolutely. And you think about, I don't know, I just think about the skills that you're learning along the way. And I think public speaking skills, time management skills, like all of these things that you're learning will be with you for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Yeah, I had trouble with public speaking, but then I tried out and it's helped a lot.
Really?
Yes.
That's great. Yeah, Natalie's never had that problem.
Oh my goodness.
No, you're like an old soul. You've always been a good public speaker ever since I've known you.
Like that, but thank you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The past fair court members actually met the 1964 Miss America at Great Jamboree.
Oh, you guys did, or
No.
some of the
No.
other ones? Oh, met like an older Miss America. How fun!
That's
64?
crazy.
1960.
1964, and she couldn't wear her crown. She had to hold it the entire
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh,
And they met her at the Great Jamboree.
that's so
That's
fun.
awesome.
So
Oh,
you
very
meet all kinds of
cool.
people.
How do you keep those crowns on your head? Lots of bobby pins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like clips. They're everywhere.
Gotcha. Well, I can't see them.
There's pipe cleaners in my crown. So
And the round ones, if you put pipe cleaners like around the
Yeah,
top,
it
and then you
helps.
just
you can
clip
put
the
little
pipe
clips in
cleaners
there.
down. So like you just actually clip the pipe cleaners to your head.
Mine are black, so you can't see.
I was
them.
mine
gonna
are
say,
also, mine are a dark brown.
I don't see anything. Okay, you
But
guys
these
do a
are
really
the
good
comb
job
crowns.
of it.
These
Oh.
ones, we have 2 crowns. These are the
Oh.
comb ones. These ones have combs like.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's helpful.
She has the difficult one on, so
Yes.
we get the.
Yeah.
We have the easy one on.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, very cool. So, what do you have to do in the pageant and whatnot to get to where you're sitting today? Let's talk about that.
So the interview, you go in the morning and you have judges, and it's based off your application. And then in the evening, it's based on appearance and your bio and a final question.
Okay.
Like you have a one-on-one interview.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually not one-on-one. You have like multiple judges in the room and ask you questions about like the things you're involved in and your application and just like what you do. And then at the contest, they ask you questions from your bio and they ask questions. You like pull a word. Are they still doing that?
A word, I think.
Yes. You pull a word out of a little thing and then you say like what that word is and what does it mean to you and how do you apply it to your life.
The interview is your
A
time to
word,
like
okay.
bond.
Like
with
my
your
word was
judges.
love.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the interview is like so the judges can get to know you.
Yes,
Yes.
that's your time to show them who you are.
It's a
Yeah.
20-minute interview.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it prepares
20-minute interview.
It goes by a lot faster than you think.
Oh,
Yeah. So like the interview, our interview, it prepares us to go on to like Natalie. It prepared her to go to State Fair for their interview.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, and all of this you can do.
It seems like a lot, but it's really not.
Yeah, no, it's not. Like it's something fun. You all don't regret it, right?
No.
I do not.
Yeah, because you guys had fun. So let's talk about some of the duties, though. So here's the thing: you all are royalty, of course, but also at the fair you get to work some too. So talk about the responsibilities of the Queens and Court at the fair.
You have to be there all week. It's a lot of fun though. It's not. It seems like a lot of work, but it's really not. You get to sit in the little Queen's quarters in the corner, and you pass out. You pass out like ribbons to 1st through 5th place, and you get to watch all the shows. It's really fun.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. And like you have shifts, so you're not working the whole time.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you're getting to learn, and you get to pass out like the ribbons and the awards, to all the excited kids.
Yes.
Yeah, and we get to take pictures with the reserve and grand champion.
Yes.
So you get to be in all of that, and
yeah.
So what are some of the, when Maddie and Josh have been here, we've talked about like general projects and things like that, because I think a lot of people talk about 4-H or FFA, and all they think about is taking an animal to the fair. But there are so many general projects out there now. Like, what are some of the ones that you've seen that have, maybe not that you did per se, but like you've seen that kids have done that are so cool?
I like the one it's called Grill Master. Is that what it's called? I like that one a lot.
What do they do for that?
Yeah, tell us about that.
I don't even really know. I just know they learn a bunch of skills from grills. Like they learn how to cook on the grill.
Oh, well, that can go hand in hand with the steer that you take to the fair, right?
Yes. But kids seem to have a lot of fun with that one. So I like seeing all the kids excited about that one. Because I work for Junior Fair Board. I work the judging. And I get to see them, and they come in with a big board, and it's all the things that they've cooked, and it's really exciting to see them so excited.
I will say that's one thing with the cooking channels and stuff like that. I don't think kids a lot of times, like when I was growing up or whatever, cooking was just something that mom did. Kids didn't get involved in that. And I think now that they're seeing all these TV shows and whatever, that it's really good. Again, life skills that kids are learning early. Yeah. So what are some of the other general projects you all have seen? And I'm just asking you because I'm thinking about all those kids out there who are like, well, I live in town. I can't be in 4-H. I can't be part of what these girls are talking about right now.
One of my favorites is a fairy garden that they do. They can either crochet something, or they can go to a dollar store and get the enchanted stuffs that they can do. And it's really cool. They look really pretty.
And you make a fairy garden out of it?
Yeah.
Neat.
Yep.
Cool.
I think my favorite one would be the bread one, just because I like bread. And bread is really easy to make. Everybody can make bread. You can do it when you're a child. So I like the bread one.
Very good. And has there been one that you've seen that blew your mind, that's way out there that somebody has invented or whatever?
I did when I was younger American Sign Language. Because one of my friends...
that is flipping cool.
Yeah, my friend's uncle was deaf, and I had to figure out, certain things to say to him because I wanted to communicate with him.
That's so heartwarming. Not warming. So do you still remember it?
There's a few. There's thank you, and then you're welcome goes this way. There's yes, and then there's no.
Okay. And did you learn to cuss anybody out?
We'll
talk about that off the air. No, I'm just kidding you. Well, very good. Well, what else would you girls like to tell our viewers? We have a couple of minutes.
So one more thing. If dresses is a reason you don't want to try out, do not worry about that. We have plenty of dresses.
Reach out to one of us and you can try some on.
That is a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Past Apple Festival Court.
Yes.
Us.
Any of our littles, we have dresses.
You can hook.
Don't worry about
it.
I have
get people in the right direction.
I have 2 closets full.
Yes.
No
and you
joke.
have
we have plenty of dresses.
2 racks. I have bunches.
All shapes and sizes. And
yes.
And for the little ones too.
Yes, we have all.
Miss for the contest is Sunday best.
Yes.
Yeah. So a church outfit.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. For the little ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then when is the pageant actually being held?
May 10th at Park's Edge. The interview will be in the morning, and then the actual contest is in the evening.
Okay. And then do you have somebody that kind of helps practice or guide people,
We have
the
practice
candidates
dates.
through? Okay.
Yes, we have.
You're not just thrown to the wolves.
No,
Like,
no. You
Okay.
can practice for as long as you want with us. You can talk to us about it. We will help you practice interviews or just on stage.
There's mandatory meetings.
There's mandatory
meetings,
meetings
okay.
and practices to learn about.
Yeah, and who better to talk with than the girls that have been there and
Yeah.
done that? So, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, very good. Well, we hope that everybody signs up. You have until tomorrow at 4.
Yes, 4:30.
30 to sign up and get those applications into the extension office. And again, if you just stop out there, I'm sure that they can get you an application as well. You could fill that out. Very good. All right, well, girls, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It's always a pleasure talking with you. All right, well, have we done everything we were supposed to do, Adrian? Okay, he gave me the thumbs up. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we appreciate you all so much for tuning in, and we will be right back here tomorrow. So have a great day, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Did you know Jackson is home to a locally owned and operated full-service print shop? Zip Printing covers all your print, signage, and design needs. From business cards, booklets, and posters to yard signs, banners, screen-printed t-shirts, oversized signage, and more. We can help you or your business advertise and look good doing it. Zip Printing also offers logo design. Allow us to assist you in building or elevating your brand today. Zip Printing is located in the Stockmeister Plaza at 708 East Main Street in Jackson, Ohio. So stop in or give us a call at 740-286-3023.